People who came to me, with testimonies, they wanted to testify against a certain prophet from Zimbabwe by the name of Prophet Makandiwa. They came to me with, they came with stories. They were saying, no, this man is like this man is like this man is like this man is like this man, But when I sat down and I began to look at everything that was brought forward to me, I looked at the evidence that they presented to me. I looked at everything and whatsoever. I ended up getting caught up in a very messed up situation that I was, very unfortunate to be part of. I came out and I said, you know what? I apologize for this was not intended to be. But one thing that I got to know about this prophet from Zimbabwe is somebody I've never met in person, but I just see him from afar. I see him from afar, his videos and everything. But one thing I can tell you right now is that this is one of the remaining voices in our time. When it comes to the prophetic, this is one of the prophetic voices that you cannot argue with. You can argue about different things, but when it comes to the gift of God upon his life, that is something that you cannot argue with. When it comes to the gift that he possesses, that is something that you cannot run away from. If you look at the scriptures from back in the days, God has been raising prophets and prophets for each and every generation. Even in our generation right now, God has even raised prophets. We still have prophets who are genuinely called by God. Now I know if you're watching from Zimbabwe, and you definitely know Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa. That is one of the prophets that I would say I still respect, even up to date. So I just want everybody to know that I am not all about attacking prophets and demonizing prophets and everything. Where there is good, I speak and I deliver and I say, look, here there is good, here there is good, here there is good. Recently there was a helicopter crash that happened in Zimbabwe. Before it even happened, he saw it and he spoke about it. A lot of different, events. Before they happened, he spoke about them. Before they happened, he spoke about them. So I'm just trying to make an example to everybody who's watching that J. Israel is not all about attacking prophets. J. Israel is not all about demonizing prophets. That is why I ended up saying, okay, it's fine. I'm not going to continue. Everybody who brought their testimonies to me, it simply means all the testimonies are false. Now, these are people who were trying to come up with false testimonies. And now somebody will begin to ask so many questions. I want you to know, even in our time, when we are faced by a pandemic of false prophets, a pandemic of falsehood all over the world, where you look to your right, there are false prophets. You look to your left, there are false prophets. You look to your right, there are fake miracles. You look to your left, there are fake miracles. You look here, things are just being manufactured. They are manufacturing the power of God just to try by all means and bring what is called the counterfeit gospel into the things of God. But I want you to know something, that no matter how much the falsehood and the fake and false prophets can exist, the true servants of God are arising even in this season. The true servants of God, the true prophets of God are arising in our time. I believe I started one of the greatest movements under the sun. The greatest movements ever under the sun, and millions of people across the world, their eyes were opened. Now, many of you were stuck in churches where a lot of things were happening and you didn't know. A lot of false miracles, false prophecies were being given and you were not aware. But when I started talking and when I started giving people examples and coming up with people to say, so and so was a victim, so and so was used for that, this is how things operate. Look at this. Ever since churches opened again, the whole prophetic frenzy and the prophetic craziness, the prophetic madness that was going around before lockdown, it has come down now. All those wannabe prophets who would go around, lying to people, trying to prophesy and trying to lie here, you cannot see them anymore. You cannot see them anymore. Because all their tricks and everything that they do to try and deceive the saints was exposed. Now, it cannot be done anymore. So, no matter how much you don't like me as a person, no matter how much you don't like me as J. Israel, but you cannot take away one thing away from me. The fact that we started one of the massive movements across the world. We shook the world. We shook the internet. We shook Africa. We shook America. We shook the UK. We shook London. We shook everywhere. Now, everybody across the world was shaken. The false prophets were shaken. They tried everything. They even took down our YouTube channel. Now, by so doing, they were making it a point that they silenced J. Israel. They came up with so many different things, so many different lies to say, oh, J. Israel is this, J. Israel is that. But you can never take away the fact that I opened your eyes.